Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football. To the latest signings to this year's breakout stars and all the news in between. As always, I'm Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah.
What's up, man?
What's up? How's your week? Jinx! Over your coat.
It was good. It was okay. It was, I'm a Steelers fan and they lost. We'll get into that in a little bit, but
yes, we will.
I don't let that ruin my day. I get over it pretty quick. So,
well, I'm really glad you do.
Thanks.
Because some people don't.
Yeah, if you want to talk about Niners games, sure.
No, I mean like overall.
Yeah, no, some people just, God, they let that stuff bother them so bad. It's like it's week 3. I mean, it's bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? There's been worse. But, yeah, I had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah.
You?
It was okay. I did have the day off yesterday watching football, and, yeah.
I'm pretty happy for you there, man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, let's talk some NFL football. How about that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let's recap the week that was. Let's start with the one of the first games of the morning slate. Arizona at Buffalo. A surprising game here for sure.
Yeah,
if you had this as your upset of the week, you're a smart fella.
Yeah, no one saw this coming.
Yeah, 33-18 in favor of Buffalo. The defense just rolled. They handled Carson Palmer. The offense never really got going. Excuse me. It was impressive to see after a pretty bad week from the Buffalo Bills to turn around, and a pretty strong week from the Cardinals to turn around and just completely change suit for each of these teams. So it was a weird game for sure. Moving on to the Oakland Raiders, who are now 2-1 with a win over Tennessee. Close game there, 17-10. The defense looked a lot better than it has in the past few weeks. Didn't look great, but it didn't give up 500 yards.
Marcus Mariota did drive down the field in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They almost tied it.
Mm-hmm.
So
really late there. Yeah,
really late there.
Missed the incompletion in the end zone.
The Raiders defense bent, but they did not break.
As a matter of fact, they scored. And they got called back,
the
Titans. So, I was just like, oh, here we go. Here's the defense again, losing them a game. But they got lucky there, and it got called back on a penalty. I forget if it was holding or something. But I got called back for a penalty, and they ended up holding on, even though it was a very close play there in the end zone to end the game. There you go, Raiders, 2-1.
Yeah.
They're right up there in their division, I'll tell you what.
Yes, they are.
Another team that doesn't look great, either of these teams, as a matter of fact. In overtime, Cleveland loses a close one to Miami. Now, what stuck out to me most was the quarterback play of the Browns, because 2 people did it. And not because one got hurt, but because they had somebody who's kind of...
he had some experience doing it.
As somebody who can do it all. And that is Terrell Pryor. That man had 8 receptions for 144 yards, not to mention a couple rushes, not to mention some completions, not to mention he logged a snap at safety.
And he had a touchdown on the ground.
That dude looked impressive, to say the least. But Cody Kessler played well, too.
He did.
Albeit he fumbled a snap, and his very first play, I think he threw a pick also. Maybe got called back. His first 2 plays didn't look good. Let's put it that way. He fumbled the ball right away. I was like, oh, man, here we go. But he turned it around and had a pretty decent day, to say the least.
But the Browns missed a late field goal.
Yes.
And you know how I always say,
the Browns keep browning.
Well,
see, that goes back to their kicker getting hurt this week and getting put on the IR. So, you look at it that way. That's Browns browning right there.
The Browns keep browning.
Uh-huh. Moving to Baltimore and Jacksonville. Jacksonville, man, I respect your choice to pick them to win the division, and albeit excluding last week, they've been in both of these close games. They haven't gotten a win yet, unfortunately, their own 3, but man, they were right there to the end in this game. They're losing close one, 19-17 to the visiting Baltimore Ravens. They played a really good game.
Yeah, they did. I honestly think that might be because of the youth of this team. They just don't have many experience playing in these close games.
Yeah, they don't. I mean,
they
they're
don't.
learning still.
Yeah, so they're still on their learning process. So, but I think down the line, at the end of the year, this team's going to get a lot better.
I think
we're
you're
going to see a whole different team than we are seeing now.
I think your prediction for next year might be, or for this year might be more realistic next year. As they go through this year and they learn how to win these close games, I think they can really have a shot at it maybe next year when they're more of a solid team all around. You know, you can have the pieces in place, but like we saw that dream team, quote unquote, of the Eagles in like 2011 or whatever that was, that weren't very good.
Yeah,
they didn't know how to play
pretty
together,
terrible.
So
they were worse than the Eagles team now, which is kind of funny.
Well, the Eagles team now is pretty good.
Yeah,
it looks like.
Yeah, a team that we didn't think was going to be good.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it on Wednesday and see if they're for real. But
yeah.
The next game we have on our slate is a close game in a weird way. The Green Bay Packers won over by 1 touchdown over the Detroit Lions, 34-27 on the strength of 4 touchdown passes from Aaron Rodgers in the first half, and didn't score again in the second half, but held off a furious comeback from the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns in the first half, and the Packers are up big.
Yeah, they kicked a field goal to end the half. They were up 31-0. Well, 31-0. I forget what the halftime score was, but they didn't score again. You didn't get in the end zone again, other than a field goal in the second half. They had to do all they could to hold off a charging Matt Stafford and over 200 yards receiving by Marvin Jones Jr.
Yeah, who's emerged as the number 1 receiver
in
there.
a sense. Yeah, it's almost like they have 2 borderline 1-2s with him and Golden Tate. Like neither of them has really taken the number 1 spot.
Yeah, Golden Tate hasn't got off to a good start this season.
They're really blanketing him now that Megatron's not there. We saw the space he got because of the fact that even when Megatron had bad games, people were on top of that dude like, nobody's business. And Golden Tate really found some spots for that. Maybe now with Marvin Jones showing that he can be a threat in the open field, it looked like at times that the corners and the safeties for the Packers didn't even think he was on the field because he was just wide open. We'll see if that really opens up some space for Golden Tate, because I could totally see that really maybe opening up some games for him to do some big stuff, which would be nice for Golden Tate. I've always liked Golden Tate, even when he was with the Seahawks, even though I'm not a huge Seahawk fan,
Remember, he had that, remember that one play on Monday night with the replacement refs?
No, the Fail Mary, yeah.
Yeah, the Fail Mary. Mm-hmm. He was part of that.
He was indeed against said Packers.
Yeah.
All right, moving to the defending Super Bowl champions, the Denver Broncos win one on the road over Cincinnati, 17-29 on the strength of 300 yards plus passing and 4 touchdowns from Trevor the Stallion Simeon. I just gave him that nickname. If you like it, make it happen.
I don't like it.
Okay, well, whatever. Simeon, man, he became one of I forget. I said this in a sports show. I should have looked it up. I forget if he's the first quarterback or one of only 2 or 3 to win their first road game. Win their first game on the road, throwing 3 touchdown passes, and he's the first Broncos quarterback to throw for over 300 yards passing and 4 scores in over pretty much a season and a half, because nobody did it last year, not one person, and it was impressive. Their defense played well. They they held the Cincinnati Bengals at bay for the most part. Jeremy Hill was 3 yards short of 100 yards rushing. He had 2 touchdown rushes. That's good for my fantasy score. But Andy Dalton didn't do great. He had an interception. He only had 1 touchdown pass, I believe. 1 touchdown pass. He didn't look amazing. That wasn't great for my fantasy score, so I'll tell you that right now. Same team, though, so they kind of balance each other out. But it was all about Trevor Simeon, man. He beat blitzes routinely. I didn't play Emmanuel Sanders. Not good from a fantasy team. That guy had 100 yards plus and 2 touchdowns.
He finally came alive.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame me for not playing him. He hasn't done anything this year. Demaryius Thomas had some good catches, too. Both receivers over 100 yards, I believe. So their offense finally came alive in a game they needed to win and against a good opponent, and they're 3-0 in that division. Yeah,
Trevor Simeon was probably one of the most impressive players yesterday.
Yeah, he had the best quarterback performance yesterday.
And I think there's a chance that we can practically talk about him on Wednesday in our For Real segment, because we know about this Broncos defense. but we didn't know about him. So we'll probably get into him later on Wednesday in our For Real segment.
Yeah, I like it. Moving to another team that I think we might talk about in that segment as well, and that is Minnesota winning a wacky game as well. Not a game that many people saw coming, over Carolina, 22-10. And weirdly enough, even though it's a 12-point difference, that makes it look closer than it was.
Yeah.
They sacked Cam Newton, I think, 8 times. Their defense was just swarming. Their running game never really got going. I played Kelvin Benjamin on my team. He didn't have a fantasy point. Dude didn't get hurt. He didn't log a stat. They shut him down. They were on top of Newton all game. He had turnover after turnover. They played amazing. You know what I mean? Like, they played really well. Bradford didn't go crazy. You know, he had a touchdown pass, 171 yards passing, but he played great in terms of not turning the ball over and allowing a defense that got 3 turnovers from Cam Newton, 3 interceptions, to really do what they needed to do to win this game.
Yeah, and the defense played really well. They honestly look like this year's Denver Broncos.
That's what Ben was saying. Yeah, you have not mediocre, because like we saw last week, Bradford can win games, but you don't have the best quarterback back there, at least, you know, not like they did with their offense was winning them games, the Broncos, you know. But their defense is really swarming. It's just a team that, you know, gets to the passer. Like I said, all the sacks they had 3 forced turnovers. Their time of possession was lower even, and they just kept at it. They kept at it. They were behind almost every offensive statistic in terms of first downs, 13-18. Time of possession was about 10 minutes, almost different, just short of 100 yards different in favor of Carolina in total yards. First downs, they had 1 more, and so on and so forth. But their defense is really what won them this game.
And their defense is going to have to win them games moving forward because of the backfield there. We don't know anything about Jared McKinnon, what he's going to do on a full-time basis.
Yeah,
if
he looks pretty good.
If they have him on a full-time basis, and Matt Asiata, we already know what he's capable of. He's more of the goal line back, and Sam Bradford. I know he's like 2-0 as a starter, but there's still
questions.
There's still questions there because 1, he's Sam Bradford, and 2, he's only been there for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Like I said, though, the Vikings, if their defense can keep doing what they're doing, they sacked one of the hardest people to sack in the league, Cam Newton. They sacked him 8 times, you know, and that'll help win any game for any team. And Carolina has to, look to next week against one of the combatants tonight, who we'll get into in the Falcons. And if they can turn this around quick in a week, and really reestablish what they're about. And then the Vikings, on the other hand, have what looks like a winnable game for them after this week and the New York Giants. So we will keep looking at that as the week progresses. Moving on, Washington and New York, the Giants at MetLife Stadium, a game that a lot of people had their eyes on for different reasons. This was the first matchup since the well-known matchup last year with Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman. I would say neither really got the best of each other. Norman had a good game. Odell Beckham Jr. had over 100 yards receiving.
121.
Yeah, Odell
got
Beckham.
Me 12 points for my fantasy team.
Yeah, I have him on my mind too. Odell Beckham, had kind of a in-your-face, literally stiff arm to Josh Norman, and he went and ran for 30 yards after it. And then Josh Norman, on a weird play, I don't even know why Odell Beckham Jr. jumped for a ball in the end zone that was never thrown to him. Josh Norman caught him and carried him out of the end zone.
I saw that.
In a make a man feel like a little child moment. So I definitely say that he got in Odell Beckham Jr.'s head more. Odell Beckham Jr. got frustrated. And as Ben said, the real winner here was the kicking net that smacked Odell Beckham Jr. in the face when he punched it. It ricocheted back and hit him in his forehead. So I guess he's the real winner there. But I would say neither of those players really kind of had the one-up on each other. But Washington did win 29-27 in a close game, hankered by 2 Eli Manning interceptions.
A game that the Redskins needed to win.
Mm-hmm. Now really 1-2, losing their first 2 games at home, winning a big in-division game against a team that is in second place currently in the division. So.
Yes, because there is a team that is in first place, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a second. You slow your roll, SA.
Okay.
Slow your roll.
Oh, SA.
Slow your roll, Holmes.
Okay, all right.
Let's move to the LA Rams facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I was telling Ben this is a weird week for football, not because of teams and stuff, but just wacky things that happen in these games. But let's start with this. LA has finally scored a touchdown.
Yes,
And not only that, they scored a few of them.
Yes.
I don't know what's more impressive.
1994.
Right? I don't know what's more impressive. I think I had them winning this game, but the score, 37-32 in favor of the Rams. Case Keenum threw a beautiful touchdown pass to get the game going to Brian Quick. I was like, whoa, who's in the quarterback? Because it can't be Case Keenum. He's not throwing the ball downfield. But he had 190 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did have a pick. But on the other hand, Jameis Winston, 405 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, a little better. Todd Gurley, though, finally got going, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tavon Austin, 82 yards, 1 touchdown. They played well. They really did. Both teams played well. It was a wacky game because with 2 minutes left, 2-minute warning, the Buccaneers were driving to their own end zone. Play was delayed because of weather. There was some lightning in the area. I knew of this lightning because one of the bands I'm a fan of, I follow on Instagram or Twitter, whatever it is, they had a festival that was outdoor festival in Tampa Bay or in Florida or something, and they had to cancel it because of the same weather. And so I saw that. I was like, oh, hey, yeah, that's the same place. But, yeah, that was a wacky way to end the game, to say the least. Like I said, on the Buccaneers side of the ball, James Winston had a good game, and Mike Evans also 132-1.
Yeah, and I actually had the Bucs winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm for sure saying the Rams. I don't remember for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did pick them because after last week, But I didn't have this score, I'll tell you that. Couple defensive scores for the Rams.
Who would have thought Rams would score 37 points after only scoring 9 in the first 2 weeks? First of all, the Rams are like the weirdest team in the NFL.
Yeah,
they get demolished by the 49ers.
Yeah.
And then they beat the Seahawks at home. And then they destroy, well, not destroy, but they win a pretty high-scoring game against the Bucs. So it's like, wow. So I don't know who the real Rams are, but whoever are the real Rams, please stand up. Please stand up.
Oh, wait. One more.
Please stand up.
There you go. Just like the song. He wrote that in like 3 hours?
I wouldn't be surprised if Eminem did.
It was it was 3 hours until his the album was like due, the deadline, and he
didn't have a single.
Yeah, he wrote it in 3 hours. Boom, there you go. All right, moving on. Excuse me.
Hey, I like that little music trivia there. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
I have a lot of that trivia too. Okay, so the aforementioned San Francisco 49ers lost one big in CenturyLink to the Seattle Seahawks, but the Seattle Seahawks had some losses of their own, and it looks like may not be serious as far as we know right now, but Russell Wilson hurt.
Yeah.
He sprained his knee.
He got sacked by Eli Harold, I think, on the 49ers defense. On a horse collar that was called.
Yeah, got his leg all caught up Navarro Bowman style.
Oh, it was like that. Yeah,
not
it
as
looked
severe
like that.
though.
It looked like that. And when I saw Russell Wilson on the ground, I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
No, because I hate seeing players get hurt.
Yeah.
And he stayed in the game, which I thought was kind of questionable in a way. But they took him out. They're up big.
He tried to come back.
He tried to come back.
You know how Russell Wilson is, though.
Yeah,
he wants to play.
He's a competitor, so, people that are great, they're going to want to play every game. But he did get out of the game. They were leading big over the 49ers. And Trevon Boykin, we got to see some action from him. And he looked pretty good.
He looked okay. He threw an interception, but he also threw a touchdown pass.
He threw a touchdown to Doug Baldwin, who got me 22 points.
Do you see that catch Doug Baldwin had
yesterday? Yes, dude. Doug Baldwin he is emerging as a top receiver in this league.
He is. He doesn't get the credit for it. He's a good quarterback. He's a good receiver. He does what he needs to do, And it's impressive the way he does it.
Yeah, exactly. He is emerging as a top receiver in this league, and it is impressive the way he's doing it. He gets better every year.
Indeed he does.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to another wacky game, and not because of who won. I'm not surprised that team won. I would have given it to either team, but in how they won. The New York Jets lose one 24-3 to the home team Kansas City Chiefs. Ryan Fitzpatrick, has 6 interceptions.
Yeah, in this game.
Stop throwing the ball, bro. Kick it with your foot. Throw it with your left hand, or just don't get out of the game. Hand it off. Something. 6 interceptions. Come on, bro. Come on, son. 6 interceptions. I know that Kansas City has a good defense. I get it. But 6 interceptions, 2 in the red zone. Come on, son. What is going on, Ryan?
This is a week before. The week after the Jets demolish the Bills in a high-scoring game. Remember, on the last Thursday Night Football week, too, they won 37-31, I believe.
Yeah.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick had a good game. I have no idea who that guy was yesterday in the Jets uniform at quarterback. Remember, this was the guy.
No idea.
I have no idea who that was. Remember, this was the guy that almost didn't come back, and we were like, he makes this team better. Well, is this the real Fitzpatrick after all? Is it?
I hope not.
Will the real Fitzpatrick please stand up?
Man, look at you.
Please stand up. Please
there
stand
it is,
up.
the third one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's two M&M references in the same day, man.
I never knew. I didn't think it was gonna happen. So I'm just as surprised as you are.
I'm not surprised. I'm just proud.
Oh, thank you. All right.
But I mean, they have some work to do. 6 interceptions, man. That is not good for any quarterback in any level ever.
Yeah, high school, college, definitely NFL, AFL, even the Lingerie Football League. I am going.
Is that even going anymore?
I have no idea. But anyway, let's move on.
All right, so we're moving to another close finish, kind of a wacky ending as well. Indianapolis at home at Lucas Oil Stadium does get the win, 26-22 over the visiting San Diego Chargers. That was a close game for sure, but the way it ended was wacky too. On a punt to relatively end the game, the Colts punted it away to San Diego, and I believe it was illegal touching, which means that somebody didn't establish themselves back in bounds, whatever it was. It's a defensive penalty because the team becomes the defense when they kick it. And, game can end on a defensive penalty. So everybody's already on the field. They had to get off the field. And the Chargers got one more untimed play. I mean, it was from their 35-yard line. It's not like they were in any range for a Hail Mary or anything. And not only that, he threw a quick pass to, I don't know if it was straight to Benjamin or if it got to Benjamin on a pass back or something. But I don't know if you saw this. As Travis Benjamin is slowing down to pitch it or something, he just gets wrecked. Some guy runs up. He's running up from behind like a defense lineman. He gives him that like double arm push. He wrecks the poor dude. Like Travis Benjamin is tall-ish, but he's skinny. And this guy sent him into Tuesday. Like, it wasn't like a big hit, but like I laughed because it's like he pushed him down on the ground really hard. Like a big kid pushed a little kid down on the ground. Like he smoked it. He smoked him. His dreads were like, he was on the ground before his dreads had reached because the gravity was that quick. You know what I mean? Like that whiplash hadn't happened yet. Like he smoked the dude. I was like, oh, nice. I laughed. But, Andrew Luck played well enough to win him the game. T.Y. Hilton had a nice, long, game-winning touchdown, which eventually came to be a game-winning touchdown, in a kind of long post-slant kind of looking route. Broke one tackle and then just didn't get caught. He took the angle and c'est la vie, you know what I mean? He won them that game.
Yeah, definitely split the two defenders apart on that play.
No
way you're going to catch that kind of speed.
Will the real defender please stand? No, just kidding.
That's not fun. I'm kidding.
Just kidding. But let's move on to a game that obviously, yes, I'm not happy about, and that is Pittsburgh at Philadelphia, the interstate rivalry, 34-3 in favor of the Eagles. I'm not making excuses by any means. Believe me, I'm not. But the Steelers did suffer quite an injury bug in that game. They lost their starting safety, Robert Golden, for the entire game. They lost slot receiver Eli Rogers for the entire game. Starting guard Ramon Foster for the game. Shazier hurt himself the first play. Ryan Shazier, linebacker, was in and out the entire game. You could definitely tell he was hankered by something. Jarvis Jones went out at one point. Lawrence Timmons went to the hospital. He had a pretty big gash from his shin. The offense couldn't get anything going against what seemed like looking like a pretty solid Philadelphia defense. Mm-hmm. But Carson Wentz played really well. Yeah. He had his first 300-yard passing game. He had 2 touchdown passes. The offense for the Steelers just couldn't get anything going. A lot of drops, overthrew a lot of guys. It was an ugly game for the Steelers, and it was a nice game for the Eagles.
Yeah, and you mentioned this defense from Philadelphia. This Philadelphia defense has looked really good for 3 games. And they play the Bears, which I was like, okay, that's not a really good offense. And then the Browns, I was like, well, it's the Browns. Keep Browning. So I had some questions about this defense heading to this game because the Steelers probably top 2, top 3 offensive teams in the
Yeah,
league.
exactly.
And they completely shut him down.
Yeah.
So
They just couldn't get anything cohesive going.
Exactly.
Antonio Brown got his, he got his 100 yards plus.
Yeah.
And that's actually the first time since 2014, if not in his career. I forget exactly what the statistic I saw, but the first time he had over 100 yards receiving in the Steelers didn't win. He was 9-0 currently before that, or 8-0, whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, he got his numbers, but other than that, not really much.
No.
Marcus Wheaton dropped a touchdown pass in the end zone in the first drive of the game, and then their kick got blocked. That really set the tone for the entire game. Really did.
It did. And the Philadelphia Eagles are first place in the NFC East, a team that me and you saw as, finishing last place with 4 or 5 wins. They already have 3. So It's going to be a very interesting year. And I'm looking forward to watching Dak Prescott, who we're going to talk to you about in a little bit, go against Carson Wentz. I don't know if it's going to happen because Romo might come back, but I hope it does because
nice game.
These two guys are just really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. But exactly, though, like you said, moving to – and one more thing. The silver lining for Steeler fans after this game, Le'Veon Bell's back.
Yes.
I'll put that right there.
Coming back next week.
Yes, sir. Against the Kansas City Chiefs, coming off that big win over the Jets in primetime on Sunday night. In Pittsburgh. All right, moving on to the aforementioned Dak Prescott-led Dallas Cowboys, who got a close win, weirdly close win, over the Chicago Bears last night on Sunday night. Brian Hoyer came out. It was a battle of the backups. Brian Hoyer came out. He had 370 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He had no picks. He played really well. Both the touchdowns were to Zach Miller. Dak, on the other hand, 248 yards, 1 touchdown passing, 1 touchdown running. Ezekiel Elliott had his first 100-yard rushing game of his career with 140 even. Tremont Williams was their leading receiver, 4 for 88. He had a fumble, unfortunately, though, but he's taken some steps to help forget about that don't get out of bounds moment. Des Bryant played through what apparently is a knee sprain, but he had a touchdown catch as well. The real difference, though, being the running statistics. You had 2 turnovers for the Bears. Yeah, they had a couple fumbles, but they were right behind them in total yardage, right behind them in first downs, about 10 minutes different in possession. But really, the main difference was the rushing yardage by far, and that's really what helped win the Cowboys the game. Brian Hoyer did everything he could to help win this game. They had a total of 73 yards on the ground, though, in favor of 3 running backs, 2 and some negative yards from Hoyer. But excuse me, the carries difference. You have 15 for the Bears. You have 41 for the Cowboys and 199 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, 1 for Dak, 1 for Alfred Morris, and 1 for Lance Dunbar. Unfortunately, Ezekiel did not get one, but 140 yards. I think he'll be happy. It's a pretty good day in terms of rushing yardage there, and that's really what set the game apart for them. 3 responsible scores. That's 21 points right there. That's more than the 17 they got, regardless of the extra 10 points they got on offense, than the 17 that the Chicago Bears got.
Yeah, and this game was 31-10
at one
fourth
point,
quarter.
Yeah.
So the score looks closer than it should be. And the Bears, they looked bad for the majority of the game, but to your credit, Brian Hoyer did play well.
Yeah, he did.
He did everything he could. This was just a bad team.
Yeah, their defense can't hold up.
This is just a bad team.
Yeah, unfortunately for Bears fans, they couldn't hold up.
And they can't run the ball.
No,
they
not like they
can't.
need to.
No, they can't run the ball.
And it looks like Langford's injured as well. Excuse me. So that now leads us to Chicago, who is 0-3 in their division in the NFC North. Strong, obviously, division with the Packers and the Vikings, and even Detroit. I'm sure we'll get some more wins this year. Chicago, it's just looking bad for them. And, like you said, the aforementioned Philadelphia Eagles in first place of the NFC East, followed by a 2-way tie, but technically speaking, tiebreaker would be going to New York, between New York and the mentioned Dallas Cowboys there in second place. All right, let's take our break. We'll come back. We'll talk college football. Can't believe our first break is coming this late, but it's okay.
That is your fault.
It's been later, so don't worry about that. All right, let's take our break. We'll come back and we'll talk some college football news in terms of rhymes with. I can't think of anything that would rhyme with that.
Rhyme with what?
anything we're about to talk about. So we'll leave it as a surprise.
Okay.
We'll leave it as a surprise. So here at the
right.
Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, we will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. And I forgot, we're not going college first. We're going Monday night first. We'll preview that game. So that's going to be a game between the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. Two teams that are very similar. We have that tonight, Monday night, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern. It's going to be at home in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Who do you have winning this game? I want to say the Falcons. What about you?
I want to say probably the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. I want to say the Falcons. But both of these defenses can't stop anybody. So this is going to be a high-scoring game, I think, probably in the high 20s to 30s. Mm-hmm. I expect the shootout, but I expect the Falcons to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on their injured list is out except for Julio Jones. He was listed as questionable as recently as yesterday. I imagine he will play. And everybody looks like they'll be playing on the injury list for the Saints. Kevin Jordan, Donnell Ellerbe, Josh Hill, Willie Snead, and Kenny Vaccaro, all starters, all questionable, probably going to be playing. So, I want to say Saints, but in the football, in the sports show, I said Falcons because I feel like their defense is a little bit more sound. But then again, the Saints' their offense has been better. Man, this is a tricky one.
Yeah, this is one of the most trickiest matchups to talk about the whole weekend because we don't know which way this game's going to go. Because both of these teams actually play the Raiders. That's the one similar thing they had. And
one lost, one won.
Yeah.
But one got really close to winning.
One got really close to winning.
And the other one is the Falcons.
1-1. So, we knew what we saw about this defense from both teams. That both of these offenses can score a lot of points, get down the field. Defense, they're always down the field, but in a bad way. Let's just say that.
Okay.
But I do like the surrounding pieces around Matt Ryan. I do like the surrounding pieces around Drew Brees. I really want to go with the Saints, too, because they're at home and the Superdome is a tough place to play. But I do think the Falcons are just the better team by a couple pieces. So that's why I'm going to go with them. But I think this might be a must-win game for the Saints in Week 3. They're
currently 0-2.
0-2.
Home game for them. Not must-win in the sense of, like, your season's on the line, but definitely one they need to win to get moving in the right direction, for sure. So you have Falcons in this one?
I think I'm going to go with Falcons, yeah.
Then maybe I'll go with the Saints.
No, but you already went with the Falcons. On your sports show, you can't flip-flop like that,
I know,
man.
But now I'm thinking about it.
You can't flip-flop on anything? Come on.
Fine, I won't flip-flop. Falcons it is.
There you go.
Falcons win it.
Go.
Go Falcons.
Yay!
Okay, don't do that.
Why not?
Because I don't like it.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and take our last break. Like I said, it's gonna be fast.
It's all right.
But we'll take it. We'll come back, and we will do the college football I promised before the first break. It's gonna be pretty great. All right, so let's do that. Jeremiah, sound good?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, let's take our last break here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and we're going to be talking about some college football, especially some news yesterday out of the SEC. Les Miles has been given the pink slip. It is now gone from the LSU coaching staff, and as well as the offensive coordinator. So Ed Agarion is the interim coach there.
Oh, Ben told me how to say it. Hold on, I'll tell you. Let me.
Okay, he is the interim. He is the interim coach there at LSU, and this is after the Tigers lost. Orgeron.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I said it wrong too.
Yeah, Ed Orgeron.
Ed Orgeron. Right. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, this comes after LSU's loss to Auburn on Saturday night, a game that they thought they should have won. But remember, if you guys watch this game, the LSU lost on a play that never happened.
Yep.
Basically,
pretty much, if you put it that way.
Yeah, and they had a game-winning touchdown on offense to finish the game, to win the game for that matter. But it was called back because time expired and they didn't get the playoff in time. Probably one of the worst losses for the Tigers this year.
It's a backbreaking, that's just bad loss.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, and it was against an unranked opponent in Auburn, who are also in the SEC for that matter. And all I can say is I'm not surprised in a way that Les Miles is gone, because the writing's been on the wall for a while now, for the past couple of years. He has some huge losses there at LSU. Even though he's been there for 12 years, has done great things for that program in Louisiana. But he has some pretty tough losses. They just never couldn't get over that hump, that national championship level. Mm-hmm. In a way, even though they did play in a couple, they lost to Alabama.
Yeah, they couldn't get over the Alabama hump.
They couldn't get over the Alabama hump, even when they were in that national title game a few years back.
Yeah, I mean they just couldn't get to the point. I mean it's not like he had a bad career, I mean his win-loss record is great.
He had a great career there.
Yeah, he's 114-34. That's better than any LSU coach ever. Even the guy took over for, who is Nick Saban, the current coach of Alabama. You know what I mean? And obviously he wasn't there as long, but the percentage is better. When you're not there as long and you're still a good coach, it could be a better percentage because you didn't have as many games. But he had the best winning percentage, 7.770. That's the highest in LSU history. And that's after 12 seasons. That guy, he's going to get on somewhere. He really is. And Ben made a really good kind of prediction. He said that he could totally see the USC firing their coach after this year, and Les Miles maybe shelling out and going to get Les Miles.
Yeah, even Clay Helton is in the hot seat.
He's had a bad start. Yeah,
he's been on a terrible start there at USC. Clay Helton is probably, even though he's only been there for a year, it's USC and he's been on the hot seat. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised for that matter. That's something I actually did think when I first heard this. I'm like, well, someone has to take that USC job and get them over the hump, and I think Les Miles could be that guy. Mm-hmm. But they have to fire Clay Helton first, which I think they might do, even though he's only going to be there for a year.
Yeah, we lost money, but I mean, those big programs, they have it, and they know what it costs to win these games.
Yeah, and you're in a very tough, competitive conference as well with Stanford and Washington.
And what conference is that again?
Pac-12.
Cool. Let's move on to the NCAA AP Top 25 poll, in which the Pac-12 does have a few teams in it. Yes. So 1 through 7 did not change. That is Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, Michigan, Clemson, Houston, and Stanford. But there are a lot of new teams that did move up 1 and 2 in here and there. So Wisconsin moved up 3 from 11 to 8, 10 to 9 for Texas A&M, 9 to 10 for Washington. Washington's had the unfortunate kind of scheduling in which they haven't played a lot of big opponents. But
They
they actually have
almost-
Stanford this week.
They
though.
almost lost on Saturday,
Exactly.
but they won in overtime,
Mhm.
and that was a very great game.
Yeah, but that's probably what attributed to them dropping a spot pretty much there and flip-flopping with Texas A&M.
That 7-10 matchup with Stanford and Washington, that's going to be a tough, great game.
There's going to be one better this week, in my opinion.
Remember, both of these teams are in the same division,
Yes, they are.
so very big game for the conference and division. So.
I got one better game for you this week, and that's Louisville-Clemson.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that too. That's probably game of the week right there.
Oh yeah.
It's probably game of the week.
Oh yeah, brother.
And
okay.
we're gonna.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I love it.
We're going to preview that this week.
Yeah, we will.
No, that's
We're
my
gonna- I
Macho
think-
Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah. You know, you ever seen Macho Man
I
Randy Savage?
have. You talking to a wrestling fan, of course.
Well, whenever I quote Macho Man, it's from the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. In that cage
Oh,
match.
and he's buzzsaw.
Yeah. I got you for 3 minutes. What are you doing? Get down here. I love it. Okay, let's move on.
I love watching him.
So from 14 to 11 moves Tennessee 3 spots. 13 to 12, excuse me, is Florida State. Up 3 spots from 16 to 13 is Baylor. Up 1 from 15 to 14 will be Miami. The U. Up 5 total spots is Nebraska from 20 to 15. 23 to 16 in Ole Miss. A big drop for Michigan State, 8 to 17, their loss this week.
Yeah, they lost 30-6.
Yeah.
Who saw that coming?
Don't know, actually.
Yeah.
It's future people. 24 to 18, it goes Utah, another Pac-12 team, and then one of now 2 Mountain West representatives.
Yes.
San Diego State moves up 3 spots from 22 to 19 with a 3-0 record. Man, they're a team to be reckoned with. They're not only good in their division, they're a team that can mess you up.
They're a team that can compete with a lot of these teams in this poll.
And they have shown that.
That's saying a lot. Well, they can because of the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But they do have a team that is ranked that they might play in the Mountain West Championship, which we'll get
to that in a second.
And
it's the teams that you and I had in our previews, and we're just moving on.
We had both of these teams as the favorite,
and now they're ranked.
Their divisions. Exactly.
We're like prophets, bro.
Dude, I finally took a W.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Well, you had the Houston W. That's winning. You're winning every week for that.
And
Lamar Jackson.
I've been taking a lot of
your
W's.
college W's are better than your. You have college W's and you have a lot of NFL.
I know. Yeah. Well, NFL is such. I think
it's harder.
It's harder. I think that's
college
why.
is hard too. Okay, moving on. We got to finish this. Arkansas drops 3 from 17 to 20. TCU is ranked again at 21. Dropping 1 spot is Texas from 21 to 22. Florida drops 4 from 19 to 23. And now we have a second Mountain West team, and that is Boise State, who is ranked at 24, sneaking in there at 3-0 now. And to round off the top 25, dropping a whopping 13 spots from 12 to 25 is Georgia.
Yeah, they were destroyed by Ole Miss.
Can you say that again? Because
they were
true.
destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew heading to this game on Saturday, I even talked about on Friday's show that I think it was a very important game for Ole Miss, and I had them winning. And they're at home. Ole Miss is a tough place to play, and Georgia, I felt they didn't look as good in their losses or their wins as Ole Miss did in their losses because they did play tougher competition, and we saw it.
It's true.
We saw it.
It's going to be a big week in college football. As we move on through the week, we are going to keep you updated with that and previewing the games and such. But we are done for today. Jeremiah, would you like to take him out? I took him in, you take him out? Or do you want me to take him out?
Can you take him out?
Yeah,
I'll take him out tomorrow.
As always, you can find us on GSMCpodcast.com if you want to listen to more of our shows. I do sports, as you heard. Jeremiah does baseball. I do soccer. Jeremiah does fantasy football. It's great. As always, you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play, as well as on YouTube at the GSMC Football Podcast. I'm thinking of my last show. And you can find us on Facebook at the same name, as well as on Twitter and Instagram at GSMC_football. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, tweet us, Instagram us, rate us, all that good stuff on iTunes. We'd like to thank you guys for listening. As always, I am Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah. And don't forget to tell your friends, to listen to this show. Thank you guys.
Yeah, both of us. We will see you tomorrow.
Yeah.